in to Vols Society Live on this Wednesday night. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vols Society analyst right here on the Vols Society Network. Don't forget to follow us on social media, facebook.com/UT Vols Society, 5,000 and growing each and every day. Also, thank you for our viewers watching us on YouTube. Don't forget, like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And thank you for being a part of us tonight on this here on YouTube, especially since there's like 19,000 mock drafts going on right now on YouTube since we are the night before the NFL draft. So thanks for being a part of your Wednesday night coverage as we talk about college baseball and everything else University of Tennessee athletic-wise. Like I said, you can leave us a chat whether you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube. Chat room is open, so leave your questions and comments, whatever you have in store for us, and like I said, we'll answer the best of our ability. We got a lot to talk about again. Another busy week going on at the University of Tennessee. We will break down the sweep of the Tennessee Vols over the Florida Gators this weekend, and we'll kind of briefly touch on the game with Xavier last night. But a good chunk of our show tonight is going to be talking about recruiting, the transfer portal, rumors of who may be joining Tennessee football, the Tennessee football team and basketball team, and we'll kind of be pretty much our majority of the show. But like I said, we'll dive into baseball first things first. So let's go ahead and take care of that right now. All right, so Tennessee, another weekend sweep in SEC play. They defeated the Florida Gators over the weekend. They are now 38-3. I'm actually counting the Xavier win from last night. Our Fander Brad is in the chat room, says, let's go Vols, indeed. So counting the Xavier win last night, Vols are now 38-3 on the baseball season, 17-1 in SEC play. And we'll go ahead and recap the weekend series sweep over the Gators. So Tennessee won Friday night, 8-2. Like I said, they totally tortured the Gators in the second inning, scoring 7 runs, including Trey Lipscomb's home run in the second. Like I said, not much of a contest at all. Chase Burns picks up his 7th win of the season. Saturday, Tennessee pitched a shutout over the Gators, 3-0 the final score. Luke Lippius with a home run in the 5th inning, and Drew Gilbert with one in the 6th. Sunday's game was definitely the most memorable game of the weekend, probably one of the best games of the year in this baseball season. Tennessee taking on Florida in the rubber match, going for the sweep. Tennessee was down 4-1 in the top of the ninth. Gators just 3 outs away from just at least picking up a win. Brad says, Vols are unreal. Greatest team I can ever remember seeing. They are probably the most dominant team in Tennessee athletic history. It's been unreal. Like I said, Gators looking for the win on Sunday. Up 4-1, top of the ninth. Obviously 3 outs away. But Jarrell Ortega with a home run in the 9th inning. Cut it to 4-2. So Florida, I'm sure Florida was a little nervous, but like I said, okay, we're just only down 2 runs. But then Christian Morris stepped to the plate, and a 2-run RBI single tied the game in the 9th inning. And then we went to, and now we're tied 4-4. Florida couldn't capitalize in the bottom of the 9th. Went to the 10th inning, nothing happened there. And then top of the 11th, Christian Moore back up with a runner in position, 2-run homer, and Tennessee went to the bottom of the 11th inning. And that 3rd out, a great grab in the left field, right at the fence, and Tennessee ends up sweeping the Florida Gators. They won that game 6-4 in 11 innings. So another weekend sweep for the Vols, another SEC series win. I mean, this team, to me, a lot of people are comparing it to last year's Arkansas team. Like I said, they won every SEC weekend series. I think this team is better than the Arkansas team from last year. Like I said, just keep dominating each and every game. And you're wondering, as the season progresses on and we are coming up on the final month of regular season play in the SEC before we jump into the SEC tournament at the end of the month, is how much can they continue to ride this momentum? Are we peaking too early right now? Is this just going to continue on? And it's just been very interesting to see. And there hasn't, I mean, even with some of the distractions throughout the season, they haven't been like, it hasn't been a complete drop off. I mean, with Vitello's suspension, that really added fuel to the fire. Losing Blade Tidwell at the beginning of the season, didn't, and now he's finally kind of getting back into the line. Matter of fact, he pitched Saturday because Dolander is still injured. But that hasn't affected them either. When they took their first loss down in Houston to Texas, they came back out and won 2 more games that tournament weekend. Losing their first game to Alabama, which kind of led to the suspension by Vitello the next day. Like I said, there has not been any drop off of just Tennessee's overall performance. They're still going out there and winning games, and it's just unreal. Here we are, April the 27th, and Tennessee is 38-3 on the year in college baseball, 17-1 in SEC play, which no SEC baseball team has ever had that start in history. It's unreal. Brad said this team is not peaking. This is normal ball play for these guys. They are that good. They will continue this and will go far, if not win it all. And it's going to be very interesting. I saw, right now, obviously, we're still the number 1 team in the nation. And I saw that we would have, obviously, the number 1 overall seed, which we will host another regional and, of course, a super regional if we make it that far. Like I said, the Tennessee baseball is red hot right now. I'm so happy that this program is finally getting the recognition that they deserve. They've always been a decent baseball program. It's just, always been overshadowed because of football or basketball or Lady Vols basketball. They always just been kind of on the back burner, but now they're finally getting to the forefront and has an identity. Brad says, are you going to a game? I will be there May the 14th for the last game of the Tennessee-Georgia series, and then the next day I'll be flying out to go on vacation. So kind of a kickoff to my vacation week. I will be at the Tennessee-Georgia baseball game on May the 14th, and hello to my grandparents watching along as they enter the chat room. Like I said, it's just been remarkable watching this team, and I'm loving the fan base. Like I said, bringing an identity to this Tennessee baseball program. Brett says, awesome. I want awesome coverage on Vols Society. Absolutely. Like I said, with the Mike Honcho, a.k.a. Jordan Beck, everybody still remembers Drew Gilbert's home run from last year. I think Trey Lipscomb's kind of let's say an unsung hero, but with the team, a lot of personalities. Like I said, Trey Lipscomb pretty much leads the team in almost every offensive category on this team. He's just just really been a breakout star on this Tennessee baseball team and a potential nominee for the year-end Vols Society Awards, the second annual Vols Society Awards, maybe at the end of the year. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Tennessee did get a win yesterday, their midweek game, as they took on Xavier. They won 10-1. Like I said, Lawson had a 2-run homer in the second inning, and then the rest of their runs was just kind of poor play by Xavier. Like I said, we had a couple sack flies, and then the rest of it, we ended up scoring on fielder choices or fielding errors. And like I said, it was just a kind of a cakewalk for us. And now we go into this weekend series, a pretty big series. Like I said, at the beginning of the year, I didn't know how Auburn would be at this point. I figured it'd be kind of a tough series, but this could be a fun matchup, and I expect a huge weekend home series. Probably, obviously, the biggest crowds at Lindsey Nelson Stadium in a long time, as we welcome in the Auburn Tigers. Auburn right now is 30-12 on the year. 11-7 in SEC play. They have won 7 straight games up to this point, and they're 7-4 on the road. So one of the better road teams in the SEC. And luckily enough, we're back on TV after a couple of weeks. No more SEC Plus app. Friday nights and Saturday nights game will be on the SEC network at 6 o'clock. And then Sunday's game is on that SEC Plus. It's at noon. So obviously you get to have Tennessee back on TV for Friday night's game, Saturday night's game. And like I said, really cool. It's going to be a fun weekend series. Another big weekend, and we'll kind of talk about the football recruiting aspect, how it all ties into this upcoming weekend. Like I said, Knoxville, Tennessee right now is the place to be in the state of Tennessee, if you will. Just a lot of excitement and just happy for this team. And like I said, you have Auburn this weekend. I'm trying not to look too far ahead, but Brad says thank you, Dr. Danny. Absolutely. A lot of stuff going on at the University of Tennessee. Which that reminds me, I'll talk about next weekend's show what I want to talk about. Won't have time tonight, but we'll talk about next week. So I'll just got to remember that comment there, Brad. Anyways, like I said, try not to look too far ahead. Yeah, and Chancellor Dondi. Yeah, absolutely. Chancellor Plowman. Like I said, try not to look too far ahead, but you got Kentucky on the horizon. I mentioned the Georgia series coming up that weekend. It's actually a Thursday through Saturday series. So I think it's the 12th and the 14th. And then you still got Mississippi State, which, right now, Mississippi State, who won the national championship last year, right now is sitting 5th in the SEC West. I mean, you talk about a drop-off in that. But like I said, Tennessee should win the SEC East Division, obviously. We're definitely going to be the heavy favorites when we go into Hoover at the end of May. And like I said, and then once we get into NCAA play, going to be one of the favorites to get to Omaha. Like I said, it's going to be, can that momentum continue to run? And if we end up pulling it out, I mean, you talk about not only one of the most dominant teams in Tennessee baseball history, but probably one of the most dominant teams in collegiate history. If we end up pulling the whole thing off, I mean, just you talk about comparing it to college football. Last year Georgia going undefeated, and in years past LSU and Alabama going undefeated. This is the closest thing you get to college baseball. Matter of fact, even more. Like I said, the number 2 team right now is Oregon State, and I think Oregon State has like 8 losses on the year. And we're only at 3 heading into the last week in April. It's just been fantastic to see this team perform, and can't wait to see what happens. All right, so let's talk about some recruiting for Tennessee football. Got a lot of information, including a new recruit at Tennessee. So yesterday, 4-star safety out of Munford, Alabama, Sylvester Smith, committed to the University of Tennessee. Oh, yeah, read Brad's comment there. Historic team is in the making. Absolutely. So Sylvester Smith committed to Tennessee yesterday. 5'11", 195. He paid a visit during the Tennessee spring game a few weeks ago when Nico was back in town and Carnell Tate, and there was like 25 recruits. So he was part of that. He was definitely a heavy favorite to come to Tennessee, and he made that official announcement yesterday. Another nice pickup for Tennessee, especially on the defensive side. We've seen a lot of offensive guys commit to Tennessee, and now we are starting to see that defensive side getting some players. Sylvester Smith joins another 2023 commit in Luttrell. And like I said, you have 2 safeties in the position where Theo Jackson was last year, and Travion Flowers will be this year. So you have the future set as far as some safety positions goes, and hopefully we can get some corners to lock down in the future. And with that commitment from Sylvester Smith, Tennessee is now number 7 according to 24/7 Sports with 9 commits. Alec Golish, our offensive coordinator, is now the number 5 recruiter in the nation. So just a fantastic job for what Josh Heupel has done so far. And like I said, the Nico effect has really taken place. When he picked up Nico, a lot of these kids know who Nico is through social media, through 7-on-7 play, through just just hearing his name and is this kid for real? And you reach out to him, and we're starting to see some of these players come to Tennessee. I have one correction. I said Luttrell last week is from Tennessee. He's actually from Georgia. I had him confused with Trevor Daniel. So once again, if you're keeping track at home, of the 9 players that Tennessee has committed, 5 of them are from the state of Tennessee. So I'm going to read them again. So Brad says people wants to doubt Heupel could recruit. Can I get your honest opinion so far on his efforts? I think he's done a great job. And in the days of NIL and just where college football is going, I think Josh Heupel realizes it, and he's taking advantage of it. And I know a lot of people have opinions of NIL. There's some stuff of NIL I do like, some of it not so much. Maybe we'll talk about it another day, not to sugarcoat it. But I think Josh Heupel realizes where college football is going and where he wants this Tennessee program to go. And if you want to compete at the top tier levels of an Alabama's, a Georgia's, an Ohio State's, Oklahoma's, you have to kind of go where these teams are going. And I think that's where he sees it. Just take that opportunity. And Danny White, a part of that too. And, with the renovations at Neyland Stadium and, with other facilities being renovated, the future of college athletics is growing. And especially another big announcement yesterday is the president of the NCAA, Mark Emmerick, announced that he's going to step down in July 2023, which honestly, I'm not a big Mark Emmerick fan. I think he's done a terrible job as the NCAA leader, particularly with where we are now. I think it's going to be interesting to see where college athletics goes. And with the staff that's in place at UT, I think they see that happening, and they want to take advantage of it. So, and I think Heupel is part of that too. So he's done a great job. And like I said, really reaching out. And he's a younger coach too. So he's probably going to be a little bit more relatable to these younger kids. Mentioned the 5 players that's in the state of Tennessee. Caleb Herring from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Trevor Duncan from Knoxville, plays at Knox Catholic High School. Nathan Robinson from Greenbrier. Aiden Bussell from Mount Juliet. And then Nate Spillman from Nashville, who plays at Trent Dilfer School. And then, of course, the other 3, you got the other 4, you got Nico from California, Jack Luttrell, Ethan Davis, both from Georgia, and then Sylvester Smith from Alabama. So like I said, Tennessee's locking down the state of Tennessee as far as recruiting. We mentioned it last week. We went down those years where Tennessee missed out on recruiting the top player in the state of Tennessee. And now, since the Butch Jones era, it looks like we're picking it up. And like I said, now you're also getting your pipeline states in Georgia and Alabama and, of course, California, where we've had success in the past of getting QBs. As far as some potential targets go on Tennessee's hot board, obviously Carnell Tate is a big one. 5-star wide receiver from Chicago. He's going to be committing in the summertime. He paid the visit when everybody else paid the visit. Ohio State and Tennessee still at the top. Tennessee's the favorite according to On3 Recruiting. That would be huge, especially since we just missed out on Kyler Casper, who's going to Oregon. Other players, a guy I forgot to mention last week, 5-star offensive tackle Francis Magiova. He's a 5-star offensive tackle, 6'5", 330 pounds, plays at IMG Academy down in Florida. He's getting a lot of offers right now. Could he come to Tennessee? Possibly. But it's kind of a wait and see. But that would be huge to get a 5-star offensive tackle, especially with what we have right now. Another player that I think is probably going to commit. Right now, he's 50-50 with us and Southern Cal. And that's the number 1 player in the state of Missouri, and that is Chadavian Bradley. So he's a 5-star defensive edge from Plant City, Missouri. I mentioned the number one player in Missouri. I guess it would be Mizzou. Like I said, right now, according to 24/7, he's 50-50 split between USC and Tennessee. Like I said, Rodney Garner, best defensive line coach in the country. I would love to have Bradley to come to Tennessee. And then a couple other guys I did some research tonight. Christian Conyer, he's considered an athlete or listed as an athlete, but will probably more likely be recruited as a defensive back. 6'1.5", 170-pound, 3-star from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Right now, Tennessee and Kentucky is kind of the two favorites in that department. Tennessee needs help at defensive back badly. Like I said, that was with besides Alontae Taylor, that was kind of one of our weaker positions. And you have Brandon Turnage and Kamal Haddon and Warren Burrell. We really don't know what to kind of expect because at times they were inconsistent for the most part and just kind of falling behind the depth chart, a couple of them. So this will be a nice little pickup. I know it's not a big-time name, but like I said, it's another recruit for the 2023 class if we go down that route. And then a local kid in the area plays at Baylor High School in Chattanooga named Bryson Sanders. He's 6 foot. He's an offensive lineman, plays guard, 6'5", 280 pounds. He's going to commit in June. Brad says 9 wins this year, folks. Can't wait until football. And Brad's going 9. I'm still kind of looking at 8, but I'll probably do a little bit more research in the summer. But Bryson Sanders, right now, he's a crystal ball projection to go to Ole Miss. He does have Ole Miss in his final 3 with LSU and Tennessee. He's going to pay a visit to Tennessee, I think this weekend, pay another visit before he makes his commitment in June. Like I say, he plays at Baylor High down in Chattanooga. For those who may or may not know, Baylor High School in Chattanooga is one of the top private schools in the state of Tennessee. You got another one just less than 5 miles down the road in McCallie. And then, of course, Knox Catholic's another one. But, they produce a lot of talent down there. So, be very interesting to see if Bryson Sanders can commit. Last Baylor, there's been several Baylor players that have played at Tennessee, including one on the autograph board back there, Mr. Jock McClendon, who played at Baylor back in the day. Oh, yeah, Brad says played them in McCallie. For those that don't know, Brad is a former high school football player at Mammoth County High School. And we played Bradley in McCallie. Did we play him in a jamboree, I believe? I can't remember. I don't remember in the regular season, but they got some big old boys back in the day. I know at one time we played Tyner when DeMonte Bolden was there, and of course Red Bank when Joe Riggs was there. Okay, Brad says yes. We played him in the jamboree back in the day. But we'll talk about our high school days maybe later. Maybe if you want a podcast of Vols, not necessarily Vols Society Live. Brad said he had to block Bolden. If you want to hear some cool little high school football stories, not easy, yeah. Make sure you stick around this summer when we launch the Vols Society podcast. We'll kind of do some of them funny stories like that. Try not to do too much tonight, but if you're interested, please reach out. We're going to definitely do a podcast sometime down the road in the summertime, and we'll tell some funny stories and, of course, tie it in with Tennessee football along the way. All right. So that's kind of some names right there. Like I said, we'll keep an eye out on them. Transfer portal. I'll go ahead and jump into this really quick before we jump into basketball. Tennessee did have a couple players hit the transfer portal on the football team side. 4-star tight end Julian Nixon. He was a 2021 commit. He redshirted last year. Excuse me. Let me back up. He was a 2020 commit because the last coaching staff that I'm not allowed to mention the name anymore committed him. And then he redshirted that year, and then last year didn't get to play. Before Josh Heupel's staff came aboard, he thought about hitting the transfer portal earlier, but then he stuck around, but he kind of fell behind the depth chart. But he was a 4-star tight end. Like I say, he fell behind the depth chart behind Jacob Warren and Princeton Fant, and just never saw the field. A lot of play, according to the coaching staff, he needed some experience and learn the playbook and the routes. So he decided to go ahead and hit the transfer portal. We wish nothing but the best. Basketball, man, had a transfer portal I saw on a post about an hour ago. Yeah, I'm going to mention that in a moment here. Thank you, Brad. So we'll see where Julian Nixon goes. And then last week, or towards the tail end of last week, offensive lineman James Robinson, 6'4", 335-pounder out of Montgomery, Alabama. Didn't play in the 2020 season. And then last year he played in every game, but mainly in special teams and on field goals and extra point attempts. So we wish both of these players the best in their future. It's just kind of where you fall in the depth chart. And for me, with the transfer portal, I kind of split on it. I think sometimes players get too emotionally invested in themselves, and they're like, well, I need to play right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit the transfer portal. And sometimes it's like, you might want to be patient about it, but then I can understand maybe something like a Julian Nixon situation where, Jacob Warren and Princeton Fant's kind of the starters, and then you turn around and you recruit Ethan Davis, who's a 5-star tight end, who's probably going to get playing time over you. And that's where I'm okay with the transfer portal is if you're going to be buried in the depth chart and you want to play and you're not going to be there, I have no issues with that. It's just sometimes kind of like with Brandon Huntley Hatfield, where he had potential to, and I know I'm jumping into basketball, but had a potential to have a great career at Tennessee and just kind of bolted after a year. So that's kind of where it is what it is. Finish out football really quick. Some targets in the transfer portal. A couple guys visiting this weekend. Matter of fact, I think one already visited. But Minnesota running back Bucky Irvin is going to visit Knoxville this weekend. Like I said, he hit the transfer portal fairly recently. Like I said, played for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. To me, this will add depth at running back behind Jalen Wright and Jabari Small. Like I said, just to balance some depth out. And then Malik Benson, the number 1 JUCO wide receiver, he either visited already or he's about to be he's going to visit this weekend. He played at the same JUCO as Cordell Patterson and Alvin Kamara, 2 VFL legends. So, hey, if we can get him and he can produce the same numbers like a Patterson and a Kamara, absolutely we'll take him. Ohio State safety Andre Turrentine has been a name that's been rumored to maybe come to Tennessee. We'll see where that goes. It's still kind of early in the process. And then a name that I haven't really mentioned on Vols Society Live and our Vols Society page is Brew Mccoy. So Brew McCoy is a former 5-star wide receiver at USC. He's really good friends with Velus Jones Jr. Of course, they played together at USC. Originally committed to Texas and then went through spring practice and didn't really like where Texas was going, so he transferred to USC. Unfortunately, when he's at USC, got into some trouble out there. Got arrested and then fell behind the depth chart at USC. And then, of course, they had the coaching change when Clay Helton was dismissed, and in comes Lincoln Riley. And he didn't really fit Lincoln Riley's play style. So right now, Brew McCoy is still at USC as a student. He is in the transfer portal, but he wants to finish this semester out. I think he's going to get his degree this semester and then transfer to somewhere. But right now, he is linked to Tennessee once he gets done. So I expect probably sometime in the next month to maybe hear Brew McCoy coming to Tennessee at wide receiver. It's been kind of linked for a little while now, but could be official pretty soon. All right, so basketball. So a lot going on in basketball. Brandon Huntley Hatfield has found a new home. He will be playing for the Louisville Cardinals. Like I said, Huntley Hatfield was a promising freshman for us at Tennessee. Kind of got off to a rough start with Rick Barnes. We heard, some stuff about wasn't doing well in practice and not really adapting to Coach Barnes' style. And then once he got in SEC play, he started to do a little bit better, but I think the writing was already on the wall. And he hit the transfer portal last week, and now he's going to play at Louisville. So we wish nothing but the best for Brandon Huntley Hatfield. Hopefully he does okay there. Some NBA draft news. Like I said, we already mentioned this before, but Kennedy Chandler has already declared for the NBA draft. He is signed with an agent. Santiago Vescovi and Josiah Jordan-James are going through the NBA draft process, but they have not signed with an agent. So basically, I mentioned this before on the show, but you may not know, you can declare for the NBA draft and go through its combine and the interview process as long as you don't sign with an agent. If you don't sign with an agent and you go through the draft process and don't have a great draft grade, you can come back to college and still have your eligibility. And, like I said, it won't hurt you at all. Yee Pons went through that a couple of years ago, and Brad just broke. Justin Powell has entered the transfer portal, so that's another guy that's lost at Tennessee. Okay, so that's new to me. So we'll see. Hey, of course, he came from Auburn, and kind of the same thing with Huntley Hatfield a little bit. But anyways, like I mentioned, Yee Pons, he did the draft process and came back for his senior year. So we'll see where they go. I don't know how Vescovi and Josiah Jordan-James is going to look in the process. I think Josiah Jordan-James probably has a better shot than Vescovi on there. So the Justin Powell to the transfer portal was announced an hour ago, according to Brad. Okay, thank you very much on that. So now you lose Huntley Hatfield, you lose couple others, and then Powell's part of that. So we'll see where he goes from there. Tennessee did pick up a transfer, Tyree Key, who is he played high school basketball in the Volunteer State. He went to Indiana State. He's coming in as a graduate transfer next year. Played 4 seasons with the Sycamores, 114 games, started 97 games, averaged 14 points a game, 4 rebounds. He shoots over 35% from three-point line. I don't know if this is a good thing or bad. Some people may look at it as a bad thing. In 2018-2019, he shot 44% from three-point land, but his three-point percentage shot has dropped. I mean, 37% is still nothing to sneeze at, but it could be very interesting to see if that continues to trickle on in Tennessee. Hopefully not. But, good to see Tyreke Key come back home. And like I said, a nice pickup for Rick Barnes. Another guy that Tennessee's looking out after is Tyrese Hunter from Iowa State. He was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year last year for the Cyclones. The only thing I have note-wise is they said his shooting efficiency needs improvement. Like I said, he did put up some good numbers at Iowa State, but at times he was kind of inconsistent in his shooting percentage, which, I figure being a freshman, yeah, you're going to see that. So we'll see where Hunter leads, but nice to pick up Tyree Key. Lady Vols are doing an excellent job in the transfer portal. Kelly Harper has got 3 of ESPN's top 10 transfer portal players for women's basketball. So they ended up picking up Rakia Jackson from Mississippi State. She averaged 20 points a game last season, so a nice pickup there. Jasmine Franklin, who played at Missouri State. Kelly Harper recruited her a few years ago. She's going to go play for the coach that recruited her at Tennessee. And everything I'm reading is she's going to be in that spot where Alexis Dye was this past season. And then Jasmine Powell from Minnesota is coming to Tennessee. That's going to help the backcourt. And Brad says he expects big things from the Lady Vols next year. I believe so. And then also, as far as recruiting goes, you got one of the top high school women's basketball players in the nation, and Justine Piscott, 6'2" wing player from Toms River, New Jersey. Yeah, I'm excited about see where the Lady Vols are going. Right now, I kind of feel more confident about the Lady Vols than I kind of do the men. And I'm not saying that the men's going to be terrible. They're going to be ranked in the top 25. It's just the future right now for Lady Vols is a little bit more trending up than right now with the men. But we shall see. Let's see. Trying to get my notes here really quick. I think that's pretty much All of them for the most part. Yeah, any questions right now? As we're a good 35 minutes into the show. There's kind of a lot of information there. Like I said, we talked about baseball team doing very well, getting ready for a big series with Auburn coming up. We got, like I said, a lot of football recruiting and transfer portal. Should mention this. Brad said, great info, David. Thank you. By the way, the transfer portal, I figured this out, or I learned this week. The cutoff date for the transfer portal to play for the 2022 season is May the 1st. So you have to May the 1st if you want to play this season. Anything after May 1st, you will have to play in 2023. So there's kind of a cutoff point for the transfer portal, even though it's still kind of a Wild West show out there. But should be very interesting. Vice Chancellor Plowman just loved our video here on Vols Society Live. Thank you, Vice Chancellor Plowman. We love you. Thank you for tuning into our little Vols Society show. We are huge fans of yours and huge fans of the University of Tennessee. So thank you for tuning in. And our founder, Brad, is a big fan of yours too. Of course, he is a UT alum. So thank you for tuning in. Wow, we are starstruck right now. I got to catch my breath here. That is awesome. The Vice Chancellor at the University of Tennessee tuning in tonight. Anything can happen on Vols Society Live. That's why you got to make sure to tune in each and every week, because anything can happen. I know we just learned about Justin Powell, and now the Vice Chancellor at UT chimes in and loves our video. That is fantastic. Oh, we're starstruck. And especially, like I said, I mentioned on YouTube, you got like 40,000 NFL draft prediction videos coming on. Brad says, as a proud alum, I'm happy you are here. Tennessee is looking great, and a big reason is you. Absolutely. Vice Chancellor Plowman, Danny White, Randy Boyd. I mean, the University of Tennessee is looking healthy, and I kind of teased it earlier in the show. Next Wednesday night, we're going to talk about the renovations at Neyland Stadium and why they need it. That's going to be kind of the big topic next Wednesday night on Vols Society Live, because there are some pictures. Like I said, if you haven't saw the pictures of what they're going to renovate, it's pretty cool. So definitely tune into that next Wednesday night. We're going to talk about that and kind of what it looks like now. And there's some shocking photos. And I know we just had Vice Chancellor Plowman on, but I want to show you kind of what Neyland Stadium looks like right now and what it's going to look like in the future. Is going to be a lot better. Mentioned the NFL draft a little bit. Good luck to our VFLs. Going to be drafted this weekend in the NFL draft. Potential players: Velus Jones Jr., Matthew Butler, Cade Mays, Alante Taylor, Javante Payton, Theo Jackson, Kenneth George, Jaquan Blakely, all eligible for the NFL draft this weekend. Personally, I think you can see 5 Vols be drafted this weekend. I don't expect really anybody in the first couple of rounds. Probably third round is where you'll see maybe I saw Matthew Butler maybe going to the third round. Velus Jones maybe also be a third rounder. But we'll whenever any Vols be drafted this weekend, we will definitely provide it on Vols Society Facebook page and tell you where they're heading to. And we just wish them nothing but the best in the future. I know Brad's a Carolina Panthers fan, so he has the 6th pick. My Titans are down in the low 20s, so we'll see where they go there. I'm looking. Hopefully we can. I know we're not supposed to talk about Arkansas on here, but I would like to have Burks, the wide receiver from Arkansas, on the Titans team. And Panthers are kind of in the same boat as us as far as players needed. But anyways, that's kind of off the track there. But any other questions, comments, concerns? Any other UT faculty want to join our show and love our video? That was pretty awesome. Maybe we can get Randy Boyd or if we can get Danny White on here, that'd be even fantastic. Or even Heupel or Rick Barnes. So that just shows that Vols Society is growing leaps and bounds. And man, we're tickled to death. My day was made. What Brad said. Yes, that was awesome. Yeah, very cool. Very cool here on Vols Society Live. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up. Like I said, next Wednesday night, we'll recap the Auburn series, and if any other news and notes we'll talk about. But I really want to talk about the renovations at Neyland Stadium. Like I said, there's some interesting photos online, and like I said, I want to kind of show you what it looks like now, especially in the end zones around like sections A through M. Not really the sidelines because they're pretty renovated, but some of the end zones at Neyland Stadium and the concourse area looks a little dated. I'm just going to say that, but I'm excited to see what they're going to renovate in the near future. Like I said, Neyland Stadium's still under renovation. You're adding the extra jumbotron, which I found out underneath the jumbotron in the north end zone, there's going to be a party deck, and we'll talk about that next week on Vols Society Live and what they're kind of doing in the east stands and just everywhere else, and should be very exciting there. So we'll definitely talk about the renovations at Neyland Stadium next Wednesday night right here on Vols Society Live. And like I said, we will also recap the Auburn baseball series and preview Kentucky next week. So until then, for Vice Chancellor Plowman and for Brad Frank, I'm David Morrison. This has been Vols Society Live on this Wednesday night. Have a great night and go Vols.